gang, Jim Spellos here, and welcome back. Today we are doing 12 questions, and this time it is with Hilary Laney, the owner, CEO of Evia. How are you, Hilary?
I'm doing great. How are you, Jim?
Doing fantastic. So simple approach. We're going to ask you 12 questions about the service that you provide, and you're going to have the opportunity to share whatever you want about that service. Here, Evia is a hybrid meeting. Let me not say anymore. I'll let Hilary talk about it. Because the first question, Hilary, is very simple. In one sentence, tell me about your company.
Yeah, so Evia, we are a hybrid and virtual event production company. That's what we do. For 27 plus years, we've produced a virtual experience for the event industry.
So what differentiates your product from the others that are on the market?
I would say a big differentiator is we're very focused on the content and 365 engagement. So we really marry that live experience with the on-demand. We are focused on the corporate space primarily. So we allow for a lot of branding, customization of the platform, and we are technology agnostic. So we can marry in different tech solutions kind of depending on what the organization prefers to use and lean on.
And that was my next question. So you are platform agnostic, and if people don't understand, what does that really mean from the layperson's perspective?
So we have a platform that integrates really well with other technologies. So a perfect example, if you have videos that exist and live in Vimeo, for example, or maybe you prefer Vimeo as your live streaming solution, we can just embed that into our platform so you still get that full branded experience. But really the technology and the means to get that experience into our platform is your decision. And then we just kind of we also have a white glove service where we, can support whatever that technology experience is.
Cool. So knowing that we're in very different times right now, how would Evia help the hospitality industry or anybody looking to plan events help us move forward to the next level once this all gets past us?
Well, I'll be honest, Jim, it's been a challenge to keep up as everything has pivoted. And I think that, having been in the space for such a long time, we really do pride ourselves in the ability to help kind of consult and educate people and guide them in the right direction. So that's really, I feel like in the last couple of months where our strengths have come in is that we've just been on the calls and emails constantly answering questions and trying to kind of guide people in the right direction for what they need, because we do have such an expansive understanding of what technologies are available. We can really offer that guidance no matter what your need is.
I bet you never thought it would look like this all of a sudden, did you?
Definitely not. No, we were kind of looking at like a 3 to 5 year projection for this space really blowing up. So it definitely came a lot faster than we anticipated.
So a couple of questions for sort of capacities and other issues. Largest number of meetings for an online meeting that your base pricing can support?
So we support really our live streaming capabilities. We use cloud services. So we sit in Azure and AWS. So it really is limitless at the end of the day. There is some scaling that needs to happen, obviously, and it's just having the right conversations up front to understand how large that audience is.
So is there even a limit to the number of simultaneous breakouts that your service can support?
At this point, no. Our platform is scalable. That's what it was built for. We, in the hybrid space, we were supporting events that had, upwards of 120 breakouts all at once. So, we can. That's one of the biggest focuses that we've had in our platform and the solutions that we build is the ability to scale from 1 to hundreds.
So you mentioned the hybrid space. Obviously, you support them, but what can you do to really enhance and ensure their success?
Well, the hybrid space, that is our sweet spot, to be perfectly honest. I mean, we have a warehouse full of equipment that we built back in the early 2000s, and continued to develop and build on over the years. And that equipment and that hardware and our team and the processes that we have in place was all to streamline a really efficient process for being on site and working with the AV teams, because our focus has always been on the virtual audience. So being in the rooms physically and on site and really understanding how that event experience translates into the virtual world, that's our expertise, and where we really shine.
Got it. So physical meeting, bandwidth limitations. What's the ideal and the minimum amount of bandwidth that a planner might need in order to make that sort of hybrid meeting work through your service?
Yeah, I mean, most venues these days can give what you need for just a basic, up to 5-room scenario. But once you start to get up beyond that, it's really important that you start looking at external network providers. So one of the ones that we work with pretty closely is F1. And what they'll do is come in and actually build out a network infrastructure for your event to make sure that not only, anyone who's going to be on the Wi-Fi or anything like that, but also from a live streaming perspective, that we have a dedicated stream going out and that we have full access to that line so that there isn't any attendee interruption. And the other thing that we do on our side is all on the backup to make sure that, as the streams increase, we've got kind of redundancy built into our systems when we're on site. So we've been able, we've had events where we've been streaming upwards of 50 streams out of a building. But it's all about how we kind of architect that internally before it leaves the actual venue. But if it's like a 1-room event, it's been amazing over the last 5 years to be able to see the infrastructure and how things have just gotten so much better. It's not like it used to be back in the old days when I started doing this with like phone dial-up and trying to make it work that way. So,
but bandwidth is still an issue in hotels. I know as a former planner, it's frustrating for the current planner to get past that. So can you, just want to follow up, can you not use the bandwidth that the hotel or the facility provides, or you just prefer not to use it?
To be honest, if we can lean on an external provider to come in and provide that network, it can be fully dedicated that way. And we can work in advance on getting it all set up so that it's ready to go, and we know we can count on it, and our equipment is all dialed in with IP addresses and everything. But again, if it depends on the scenario for the event. If it's a smaller kind of, say it's like a breakfast or something, and you've got 1 room and you're trying to get that stream out of the building, we partner with hotels and venues on that all the time. And it's just a matter of us being able to have those conversations in advance to let them know this is what needs to happen to be able to be successful with that live stream. And then of course the testing and everything that goes into that.
So you help the planner walk through that if they don't know which questions to ask and how to get that extra bandwidth.
100%. And that's why we think of ourselves as sort of that production team that comes in, because we really do help the planner execute on all levels. So when we enter a project, it's like, okay, we're here to provide the entire experience for you, because although some of that's going to change, because I think people in this case are being forced to learn a lot more about how all of this works. And so the planners are going to come out of this, I think, a lot smarter and a lot more aware of how this needs to go in the future, which is good, because I would say up until recently, that is how it's been, where the planner kind of just says, okay, Evia, just check that box for us. Like, have you got it covered? Okay, good. Let me know when it's ready. And we kind of just manage all those pieces for them, which is great. But it's, I think in the future, going to be even better when everybody has a strong sense of what that virtual experience is, the same way that they do about the in-person experience, for sure.
Now, we hope that's going to be true.
Yeah.
So, virtual reality, supported yet? Planning to support it?
We played around with virtual reality and augmented reality. It was probably about 3 years ago, I think, when the buzz really started to come up, and we purchased some of the equipment, the various providers that have them, you know, with Microsoft and Facebook. And we were playing around with it and kind of seeing what the experience would be like on site. And really at the end of the day for us, at least at this point in time, our biggest focus is on the actual content, like I said earlier, and that 365 engagement. And because we scale, we just haven't really invested a lot in that space. The AI and machine learning is an avenue that we intentionally decided to pursue because we see a lot of value in that in the future. Things that we offer now in terms of the automated closed captioning and language translation and downloadable transcripts, that's our focus, is like, how do we make sure that the events are very accessible and everyone has an opportunity to have the best experience and interaction with that content.
Well said, very smart approach. So what about for, let's say, a conference with a trade show? Do you have a virtual trade show platform? And if so, is there a max in terms of the amount of exhibitors it can support?
We do not have a trade show. We've got sponsorship opportunities. So our platform is not, I know I've seen some of them on the market where you kind of actually feel like you're physically at the event and there's that 3D modeling, right, that happens. So we don't, that isn't our space. We do have sponsorship opportunities and we're building out sponsor pages for a future release. So there can actually be interaction with those sponsors, but you don't actually feel like you're in an expo booth. You feel more like you're engaging on it, similar to what we are right now.
Cool. You've already mentioned AI and obviously AR and VR. So latest technologies that you're starting to integrate into your services would be what?
Yeah, that's a big one for us. We released our Evia player actually March 6th, I think was the release date, if you can believe that. So it was like we went live with that product and then all of this happened. And that's a big one for us. Right now it's searchable all within the player and that functionality, but we're working to get that integrated in the event level so that attendees ultimately will have the ability to just do keyword search, get straight to the content that they're looking for, you know, being able to share out those smaller clips from the long form video, things like that. So that's where we're spending a lot of our focus and time.
Gotcha. Last question, or maybe series of questions. Minimum price for your core services, and what does the customer get for that price?
Yeah, so we, our platform, and for the most part, we almost always offer a production element to what we do. So we've got the white glove service that goes along with that. So our base price, the platform per month is $1,200. And then adding on the production service is $1,000 per day. and so that gets you essentially up to 10 sessions, give or take, fully supported. So we come in and help with the presenters, get them set up, run audio checks, you know, all of that stuff. And then you've got access to our platform, which provides the hosting of the content for up to a month. And that includes up to 25 sessions. And if you go beyond 25 sessions, the price jumps up to $2,500. And then there's just a monthly hosting rate. So kind of what I said at the beginning of all of this, you know, our focus is really about that 365 engagement and continuing to build content on top of that event experience. And so the hosting piece is really, I think, a critical part of what we do so that the content continues to live on and can be shared and reused.
So if I was a planner, we had the event and we wanted that service, that space to stay month to month to month, they can just pay on a monthly basis to still have access to all the content.
Exactly. And then continue to add to that. Yeah. Yep.
Cool.
Yeah.
Any last comments or remarks about the service that you had, or reaching out to the people who might be needing it?
You know, all I would say is that, you know, to the planner industry is just hang in there and, you know, keep learning and educating yourself. And where we sit and what I am really seeing start to be the future is getting back into that hybrid space. And ultimately, if you really, I think people need to be thinking long-term about what this is going to do to the event industry, and just making sure that the way you're thinking about it today has a long-term strategy with it, because I think the audience demand is going to shift, and there's always going to be that need in the future for people to have access to the content and the event experience, even if they can't be there in person. So that would be my only thing is, be thinking about that long-term vision.
That's great food for thought. Thinking long-term is really important right now in times that we really don't know what it's going to look like moving forward.
Yeah.
Hilary, thank you so much for taking the time today. We really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you, Jim. I appreciate it too.
Okay, gang, so hope you enjoy this, and we'll be back again. Be well, take care, stay safe.